Again, my name is Alex. Welcome to the show. Today we are joined by two awesome individuals from Reeking Aura, and I'm really excited to do this interview. So, the first question that I ask anyone that I ever interview is, how's everything going? Not just in your personal life, but also in your music life as well.
Everything's going good on all around. For me, everything is coming up roses right about now. I can't complain about much. With the band, we have our record coming out a week from when we record this. It comes out a week from tonight, a week from today on April 17th, and we're extremely excited about that. So we're trying to be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's going good right now because a lot of things we've been working on for the last probably around 2 years are kind of coming to fruition with the release of this album and the promotion of it, and we're starting to book some shows behind the scenes that we're excited. So things are coming together. You know, things are going well. This is it's a good time for the band, I would say.
For sure. Well, that's awesome. Hopefully, you feel better soon. But other than that,
Thank you.
so I love the title of this album, On the Promise of the Moon. So I have to ask, is it about hope or is it about something more like dangerous?
Wow. Well, we've talked about this a little bit, and it's a little bit of both sides of that coin. On the promise of the moon, we kind of dub ourselves agricultural death metal in the in some of our t-shirts it says that, and there's kind of a, you might want to say, maybe homesteading, kind of old-fashioned agriculture, but still morbid theme to a lot of our lyrics and artwork. You can kind of see a little, maybe a farm or a homestead on the album cover if you look hard enough. And there's kind of a haunted farm theme that goes to our first album, right? So on the promise of the moon has to do a lot with harvesting and fishing too. Fishing is touched on in that actual song, not just the song. It's a song on the album, not just the album title. So on the promise of the moon references to how the moon kind of guides us when we're harvesting and when we're
Mhm.
when we're fishing and all sorts of things like that. And on the promise of the moon could also be, I thought it was a nice dramatic way to title the album, because it's almost like we're gonna put this album out come hell or high water on the promise of the, what I mean, like
Yeah.
we the band went through a lot of growth and a lot of changes all the way through, and has kind of become a whole different animal since we first started, through trials and uh, members kind of coming and going, and we wish all of our ex-members the best. There was no animosity with any ex-members, but now we're just kind of, I think everybody has the same ambitions for the band, and very similar perspectives on things. So there's also that element of On the Promise of the Moon. We got through all that, and we got a really good team right now, and this album came out, or it will be coming out very shortly.
Awesome. Do you have anything to add to that, Rick?
Well, it's a the first word I ever said in my life when I was a little child was moon. My parents told me. So I have
Oh,
I have a weird connection with moon. My online handle is Moon Madness for Instagram. That's a Camel record. I stole that name, but I have a connection with the moon. I'm a fan of the moon. So like, I really enjoyed that album title when Will came up with it. And I was like, yeah, that's it. That's it right there. So yeah, if for me it's cool. It's a cool title.
yeah, I think so for sure. Like I said, I really like it. I thought when I saw it, I was like, that's really unique. I love the moon. I love space. So,
Yeah, definitely. And it's not really like there's a lot of science fiction death metal going on, and this isn't that. You would think like the moon, space, and things like that, but we're not like that. So it's cool to kind of bring it in there and in this different atmosphere that we create.
so leading me to the next question, what kind of themes or what will fans hear in this album?
Mm. Not a lot of filler. it's it If I could just say, Rick, I'll let you talk, but if I could just say, as the guy who doesn't play guitar in the band or drums, these guys put together a solid album. It's not necessarily a particularly long album, but it's all killer, no filler, and it's death metal. There's a lot of melodic parts. There's a lot of dissonance, but you can still tell that we have some guttural, brutal roots here, from New York and New Jersey here on the East Coast, and our tradition of death metal. And
Hmm.
I'm so proud of this album, and I really all I felt like was I just hope that I could live up to what these guys gave me in terms of writing the lyrics and doing the vocals. So we're I think this is Reeking Aura at our best right now. And Rick, I'll let you talk. My dog is kind of flipping out. I'm sorry if you hear that.
No, I agree. You know, the themes and such is your ballpark. Yeah, you can get deeper in that, but with the sound, we wrote the four of us that play the instruments. We wrote all these songs basically uh individually, kind of. Everybody came to the table with their own songs on this record. This is the first time we had anything like that. So you're going to hear four different guys putting together like their stuff, but everybody is able to jump on it right away. So it's not like four different sounds. It's within the band's own sound. So you have all these different people crafting these songs, and they all sound like they belong on this record.
That's awesome. That's very a different way to do it for sure.
It definitely is different for us because on our first record, we had three guitar players. Right now, we have two guitar players, and our old guitar player Ryan Lipinski. Shout out to Ryan. He started the band with me, and we you know, he wrote most of the first album. So coming from a situation where one guy wrote most of the album to the second album where we're all doing it it was a bit of a change, and you know, we're extremely psyched with how it came out.
Well, that's awesome. So I have to ask, was there anything like that challenged or something that like unexpected happened during like the recording process or the creative process?
Ha.
No, this was a very very streamlined and very straightforward process. Like I said, everybody came with their songs, so it was more like everybody learned the songs on their own. And when we went to practice, it was just everything was natural. There wasn't like a learning process or anything because everybody came prepared. Um, so there weren't really any hurdles or anything. The recording went very smoothly. We banged it out quickly, like, as we always do. We're pretty good in the studio because we come very prepared. And
Yeah.
once we handed the recording over to Dan Swano for mixing and mastering, that was a process of Hudson and Terrell talking with Dan and saying how they wanted the things to sound and everything. And it was just a very smooth process all down the line, dealing with everybody. Very smooth. We try to make things as easy as possible for everybody involved.
And I'll ask you, Will, the same question. Were there any like challenges or any unexpected things that happened during the creative process or recording that you can think of or that challenged you?
Well, I would just echo Rick that we had a really great process, and the unexpected things and the changes that was more. There was a lot of that before we did this album, and again, I'm not saying that to put anyone down, but we were. There was one tour we did where somebody from another band had a very unexpected night, and you know we all learned a lot about touring and sharing vans with people. But other than that, the band originally started as what you might call more of a studio project or a project that was going to be recording albums and not playing live as frequently. And now this album, if you listen to it, I really feel like these songs translate to what we want to do live and translate to a good live show. And we're excited to take it live. So just looking back in the long term, the band has taken some twists and turns to get here. But like Rick said, this process was very streamlined because we all wanted it so bad, and we all wanted to have something to represent the lineup that we are now and the band we are now. You know.
Mm-hmm. So on this album, are the lyrics meant to be like direct or like open to your own interpretation?
Well, I guess open to your own interpretation. I know what they're about, and some of my bandmates might know specifically. You know, there's references to maybe holding a grudge against people. There's references to losing loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
There, you know, kind of a memorial traditional heavy metal memorial song for ones we've lost along the way. Type of thing going on with not just on the Promise of the Moon, but that is a theme throughout some of the album, and there's also a lot of nature references. You know, there's the cathedral's calculation is kind of a song about a bird of prey and it describes that very well. So, I don't know if people want to read into that too much or just take it on face value. But then there's other songs, uh, Manure Like Magma, that maybe are a little bit more social commentary if you read into it. So, I don't know, but that's for the reader to decide. But the way I write, yeah, there's a lot of metaphors. There's a lot of, the song might be about something morbid and kind of a horror story or something of that nature. But there's a little bit extra there from my personal life or from my narrative. Sure.
And Rick, do you have anything to add to that about the lyrics, like what you think that the listeners should have?
Well, I look at each song that Will writes as like a little story. So go into it like that. I I don't listen to this record on like, oh, I'll skip to this track and then go back to this track. I listen to it straight through because it's 32 minutes long. It's a short ripper, and
Hmm.
you can really get into reading the lyrics and getting into like what each one means. Even though some of these songs are short, some of the songs are 2.5 minutes long, but it gets the job done, what he says. So just we advise everyone to sit down, read the lyrics, and get into it that way. And on the record, on the vinyl, we have a big fold out insert with the lyrics. Everything is a huge poster of the album cover on the other side of it. So we take pride in our lyrics and things like that, and we like to put them in the forefront.
Yeah, and I have to say, I love the theme of grudges because, I feel like everyone on the planet probably has a grudge somewhere, so it's very like easy for people to relate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it comes in many forms, right? I just saw a news story, a guy unfortunately ended somebody else after a 50-year grudge. When they were in high school, this guy said something untoward towards this other guy, and he waited 50 years, and
Oh
and
my
and
gosh.
he did something about it. And to me, that's like wow. But then you could have grudges where you realize that maybe both parties are in the wrong, and then you shouldn't have a grudge, and maybe you should try to work things out. That's how I look at things sometimes. You pick and choose. If somebody really wrongs you, that might be time to end relationships. But if there's something that can be worked out, or bygones be bygones, I try to I try to do things that way personally.
Yeah. Yeah, time they say time heals all wounds. I don't know about all, but probably most.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to put some space in between people, but other times you got to cut people off. I don't,
Yeah.
there are some people that I have choice words for in certain company men, but so something that happened in the underground music scene recently was that whole thing with Turnstile, right? And their former guitarist, and he allegedly hit the singer's father with a car, and that's a big grudge there.
Gosh.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's wild, and I guess maybe
Extremes.
because it took place kind of within the underground music scene. I saw kind of a certain, I don't know, it was just weird. It was like these could be guys at shows. I don't know. It felt a little bit closer to home, that story, and
Hmm.
it got me thinking. I'm not one. I would never take it there. You got, and if I guess you got to decide if you're not willing to if you're not going to take it someplace ugly, then maybe you should leave it alone. If you realize you're not built like that, then maybe it's because you shouldn't be harboring those kind of feelings. So that was a big reality check for me, seeing where that guy's grudge led him. Sometimes you do have to let things go.
Mm. Yep.
Well, there's some personal advice and insight, so we got really deep into that.
Sorry if I got out there for a minute.
No, I think it's great. You get some personal advice and we get to review the album. It's two in one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Well, that,
your sound blends like heaviness with like an atmospheric vibe. How do you balance it so then it's not like it's a great combination of the balance of both?
Well, we definitely want to emphasize the heaviness, and we there's times where it calls for atmosphere, and I have another band that deals with more atmospheric sounds. So it's easy to see. Okay, like I said, even though some songs are 2.5 minutes long on this record, there's parts where it gets atmospheric in the middle of there for a split second, and it's like wow, you can throw atmosphere into the middle of chaos, and it could create something cool.
Hmm.
you
And
know.
I just want to add, like I said before, I don't play the guitars, but just for the listen for people listening to this or watching this, Rick, is also known outside of Reeking Aura for playing in Gray Skies Fallen, a very long running New York City death doom band that has a little bit more atmosphere, than your typical brutal death metal band or what Reeking Aura does. And our other guitarist who's not here, Terrell, is in a band called Thetis, and they're known for kind of being a very brutal death metal band. So these guys, I might as well also shout out Trog, our bass player and our drummer's other project, which is a kind of a brutal death metal band. So these guys have chops. They know how to navigate certain territories of music. And again, I'm really proud to work with them. And I think they kind of meet each other in the middle on their strong points.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys really have a really like good thing going, like a really close connection with each other.
Yeah, like we put our we had some lineup issues, and guys have lives, and guys some guys can't put everything into the band that they would want to. So so when TJ became our bass player, that was the piece of this lineup, the final piece of this particular lineup, which we call Mach 3, because it's really like this is our third recording lineup, and three different we have our two records and our demo. So we have different lineups, but now we would like to solidify this lineup and keep this lineup. And I think everybody in the band is in a good place. Everybody loves each other. There's no griping, there's no sniping, nothing like that. So, we're just gonna ride the wave of positivity and see where it takes us.
Yeah. Peace, love, and agricultural death metal.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a new era, 2026. It's how it goes.
I mean, Mach 3 is an awesome razor, so I think you guys have a winning line.
I used to use that back in the day. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Gillette, shout out to them.
I'll see if I can get the endorsement.
Yeah, exactly. We need that. We're a bunch of we all got well, you're clean shaven, but the rest of us, we're like grizzled men. No, actually,
I'm up front. I gotta be like a sales pitch,
yeah,
sales
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll have to
IBM.
tag them and be like, can you sponsor this video?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because you said we seem close and we know each other. While I'm shouting out all the other side projects, real quick, Rick and Terrell and I, so the two guitarists and the singer, we've been in a grindcore ish band called Buckshot Facelift together, the three of us since 2012,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's the secret origin of Reeking Aura there. So just wanted to throw that in there too.
Yeah, people want to maybe look into the history of Buckshot Facelift. There's some good stuff there. Me and Terrell joined in 2012, like Will said. We put out two records with that band, and then we kind of morphed into this band.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that band still does things like if there's some percolations of perhaps some new material, and we're always, there are people that are interested in reunion shows for that band. So we'll do some reunion shows here and there, and it's fun, little
Hopefully,
fun thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Got to stay busy.
Hey, that's what you gotta do nowadays. The world's crazy. You need
That's
something
right.
to keep yourself busy.
That's right. Keep your mind off of reality and create your own reality.
And don't hold grudges for 50 years.
No, you look that up. You're gonna see this
Yeah.
old man. He's just like, wow, this old guy really did that. But he said that he got made fun of in the locker room. So it was probably
Jesus.
something very, very personal. And he's like, he don't like that.
Mm.
So, it probably caused him very great pain for 50 years, obviously. But Jesus.
Two old timers probably lived in the same town for 50. He probably like
Yeah, yeah, no
saw him
doubt.
around town. Like he kept seeing him. He kept seeing him for 50
Yeah.
years.
Man, crazy.
So talking about like the kind of mood, what kind of mood or like experience were you aiming to create for the listener in this album?
Well, musically, it's a very melodic and chaotic album to me. And the first album had some melody in it, but not like this. And we're definitely upping that aspect of the sound. So I'm looking for a more aggressive, brooding in a way, kind of, even though that's, if you think brooding, you think of slower and heavier, but like I think of it a very angry album musically.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like I said before, it's kind of I don't know that it's short, but it's very to the point. It's not a double album. It's not a concept album.
Yeah, it's like Rain and Blood.
It's a death metal album. But in that death metal album, we pack a lot of epic, emotional tension, like we talked about before, a lot of atmosphere. I think that as a death metal nerd and as a death metal collector myself,
Mhm.
I feel like these guys tapped into a lot of classic Swedish style death metal, but still retained a lot of our like wearing our New York influences on our sleeves because we love suffocation and immolation and internal bleeding and all that and Morpheus descends and all that great stuff too. So I think it packs up, and I think all these guys each taking turns at writing songs, including our drummer who obviously also knows how to write music. They all stayed within the same universe. They all used the same lore, so to speak, right? So
Mhm.
it's still Reeking Aura, and it sounds like Reeking Aura every song, but there's kind of different takes on it, so it never gets old. It's each song is just around for as long as it's around, and it's on to the next one. I don't think if you're a fan of death metal and if you're inclined to this type of music in any way, I don't think you if you hate it or love it, you're not going to be bored. You know?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I listened to the album and honestly, I'm just like, I really enjoyed it. I was so pumped up. I was like having like a crappy day at work and I'm like, yes, this makes my day so much better.
That's awesome. And that's what we
Yeah,
try to do.
thank you.
Like we try to make it so like, there's not this is a very specific niche, this death metal. This, you know what I mean? We try to make it so like if you don't like death metal and you hear this, like you're not gonna say, oh, get this off. Like I think it's accessible to those who might not think that they're into this crazy stuff. So that we also I think we have that going for us too.
For sure. So I know this is a really hard question and it's going to be on the internet forever. But what is your favorite song on the entire album and why?
Ooh, ooh.
Mine will probably be, oh man, goodness.
I mean, it's going to be on the internet forever, so no pressure at all.
It's probably the title track. It's probably the title track for me. Or yeah, I think it could be the title track. So that's a Hudson song. Hudson, our drummer, wrote that song. For me, that's probably because I hear a lot of loops in my head all the time. Music. Sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll just hear a section of a song for like 2 months over and over, and it's kind of torturous. But like that song, I hear a lot in my head, and it just loops over and over. So for me, it would be that one.
Mm, I'm
Sounds like you need to start charging it rent if it keeps like showing up in your head.
Exactly. And I believe me, I live in New York, so I need all the help with rent I can get.
yeah. Just moved back. That's a tough one, but I'm gonna go with "Gorged Beyond Grudges." Which, if I'm not mistaken, Terrell wrote that one.
That's a Terrell song. Yes. Great
Yeah,
song. Sick. Morbid
and
Angel type.
yeah, it's very groovy, but not necessarily, I think, in the traditional kind of like New York style death metal, deathcore kind of thing that people might associate us with,
Mhm.
based on our accents. It like Rick mentioned, has more of a Morbid Angel kind of old school death metal groove to it, and our buddy Eston Brown, that's the one Eston was on, right? I'm not bugging, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Eston Brown from Volnificus, who is now based out of Pittsburgh, but is an old school New York City guy that we know and love from years past. He's the vocalist of Volnificus. People should check them out. He did a guest spot on that song, and it's just got this really cool groove, but then it bounces back to like a really atmospheric kind of lead guitar thing. Terrell's just
Mhm.
he's doing his wizardry on that song, so
Yeah.
and then there's a cool kind of old school death metal. I don't know if you'd even call it a skank because it's like a slowed down kind of D beat thing but it's kind of like an old school autopsy. Boom, gang, ka-dun, dun, dun. Oh man, but yeah, if you make me pick one of my kids, it's that one.
I was about to get into it because you were like, throwing down a beat.
He was
Yeah.
about to, believe me. I've seen it.
I was
Human
ready.
beatbox.
I have one last question here for you. Is
Mhm.
there anything that you'd like to say to any of the old fans, anyone interested in picking up this album? Your bandmates, friends, families, anyone.
Mm.
Well, for old fans, I say stick with us because it's a ride that we're going on here. We started the band in 2019, and we've gone through some evolution. So stick with us, and I think you'll be happy you did. To my bandmates, it's great. This is my one of my this is I've recorded a bunch of albums in my life, and this is probably the one I'm most proud of at this point, and I'm really excited for it, and I'm honored to work with these guys, and I can't wait to keep doing it. And we're going to take this on the road, and hopefully we get some good opportunities to play some with some big, bigger bands than us, and bring it to bigger audiences. And that's all you can hope for, because I'm closing in about 3 months. I'm going to be 50 years old. So, clock is ticking. So we got to get some work done. That's what I'm saying.
Oof. Yeah, yeah. We've been, like you said, when you say old fans, sometimes people come to the Reeking Aura show that know us from Buckshot Facelift or know us from Gray Skies Fallen or one of my old bands from back in the day. And we really appreciate everybody, and we appreciate the new fans and the younger people that might have just gotten to death metal a year or two ago, whatever, man. Anyone who's out there, we appreciate it, because we are an underground DIY style band. And anyone who's thinking about checking out the album and checking us out, we do really honestly humbly appreciate our supporters, the underground scene, the people who buy a T-shirt or a pin or anything, or give us a beer at the shows, whatever it is. It's from the hard death metal, from a group of guys that are collectors and fans ourselves, lifers in the underground scene, and no AI was used in the making of this album.
Yes.
And
Yep, exactly.
yeah, and I guess I'll leave. And shout to Profound Lore Records, our label, who's putting out this album, put out our first album. Has worked with other bands that we've talked about that we're in. We love Profound Lore Records, and we're just very proud to be on that roster and want to live up to it.
Yeah, honor. It's an honor to be on that record label, and we don't take that lightly. And we're trying to make a good impression on them as well.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone watching the interview, I always put all the links down below so you guys have no excuse not to pre-order the album or order it if it's already out. You do have to wait a week. It comes out on the 17th, and the album is called On the Promise of the Moon. I listened to it a few times yesterday, and I have to say I was really impressed. I think you guys did a great job on it.